Hey, look, y'all. YouTube just cut me off. YouTube just ended my stream, y'all. YouTube just ended my stream. I done seen people streaming for whole days. YouTube ended my stream. Let me type that in real quick so y'all know what's happening. YouTube. Man, y'all so dope for rocking with me. Ended my live stream. Y'all so dope for rocking with me. Salute to y'all. Salute to y'all. I ain't gonna hold y'all, keep y'all all night. I see it's 12:34 on my side, but it could be 10:34 on y'all side. I don't know where everybody coming from. But I will wrap this study up in a few minutes. But I'm gonna wrap it up because the Most High say it's time to wrap it up. I'm not gonna wrap it up because YouTube wanna cut me off. I'm not about that life. I'm about to keep on going. Just because YouTube wanna cut me off. They just ended my stream, y'all. I think some of y'all still on the stream thinking I'm gonna come back to that stream because that's what I had to do before. But they actually ended this stream. They ended the last one. So look, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna finish this lesson right here. Hopefully, y'all able to pick up. But when you look at the map from a European perspective again, this is what we get. We have Central, West, Central, East Africa. Of course, we have Northern Africa right here. And we have South Africa, including Madagascar. You have present-day Kemet, then you have modern-day Israel. This is when you flip the map upside down, the way our ancestors and ancestresses saw Africa, then you will begin to see that, okay, they make fun of us going from here to here and taking 40 years. I would make fun of anybody too who took 40 years to travel 18 hours on foot. There's some place that only take 18 hours or 8 hours in a car to drive. Yes, that would be asinine. But when you look at it from the true perspective and realize that Kemet right here, our people left East Africa, Northeast Africa, and traveled this way, you can clearly see how it would take 40 years to establish the northern kingdom of Israel right here and the southern kingdom of Judah right here. And then you would also see how we would get snatched from over here and the southern kingdom of Judah on the west in the transatlantic slave trade and the southern kingdom of Judah here on the right in the trade and began getting scattered over the world. This is what I love about this time right now. I'm going to be able to hide this truth. Luke chapter 2. This is what I was reading. Be on your guard against the yeast of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. You see, the Pharisees are going to mingle and mask themselves today. The Pharisees are going to hide themselves. The Pharisees are going to do certain things and say certain things to us to get us real. 1 Corinthians 4, verse 5, which reads, therefore, wait until the Most High comes. He will bring to light what is hidden in darkness and will expose the motives of the heart. At that time, each will receive their praise from God. How about Matthew chapter 10? Matthew chapter 10, verse 26, which reads, so do not be afraid of them. Let's start at verse 24. Ooh, that's saucy. Let's start at verse 24. Matthew chapter 10, verse 24. The student is not above the teacher, nor a servant above his master or his overseer. It is enough for students to be like their teachers and servants like their masters or overseers. If the head of the house has been called Beelzebul, how much more the members of his household? Verse 26. So do not be afraid of them, for there is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known. What I tell you in the dark, speak in the daylight. What is whispered in your ear, proclaim from the roofs. Do not be afraid of those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Rather, be afraid of one who can destroy both soul and body in hell. Ooh, I shared that. So look, y'all, this lesson I hope was power packed from the beginning to the end. For talking about what these aliens, what these devil children are doing, and why they're not purchasing anything, and why their purchases are. I'm talking about just mainstream media wants us to focus on the different narrative that they're creating, right? So these billionaire people like Elon Musk and the Bill Gates, they're relocating, they're fleeing, they're going underground, they're selling all their possessions because they figure in the great battle to come, why should they own anything? They want to be able to travel light as well. And they know they can get a pretty penny for whatever they sell because that's what they're all about. The devil has lied to them and made them believe that they can take their riches with them. Remember the rich man and Lazarus? They can't stop the truth, Queen. They cannot stop the truth, Queen. Hallelujah. Yes, they cannot stop the truth. They will not stop the truth. You know they cut my last live out. They cut it out. I done seen people on here going live all day, live streams that take 2 hours before they even start up. And I'm up here talking about what Luke chapter 12, verse 2 got to say. Yeah, Luke 12:2, and they want to cut me out. But it's cool. It's cool. We baby's kids. You know, I don't like to use the word kids, but you know the metaphor. We don't die, we multiply. Okay? We keeps it going. And so what I'm doing my best to illustrate to everybody, when you come across, hold on, y'all. Okay. So many of the borders of men. Hold on, let's talk about all right, stable for a minute. So y'all bear with me. I'm gonna take me a little sip. When we talk about this movement of going back to Africa, the Bible not being true, hold on real quick. All right, I'm back. All right. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. We're gonna wrap this one up in a few minutes. But I just gotta say these closing statements real quick because it's important. Queen, I don't think you was here earlier when I showed this Bible, but I'm gonna show it again on this stream since it's a totally different live stream. See, this is the original African Heritage Edition of the King James Bible. And I put a disclaimer out earlier signifying how many might look at this Bible and say, oh, is this Europe's attempt to try to get at our African brothers and sisters, to try to throw us off from who we are traditionally speaking, not realizing that we are traditionally the Hebrew Israelites of the Bible, right? Many of us. Now, all African nations are not Israelites. So this is where you get the encroachment of moving into Canaan, for instance. Like when it comes to the Yoruba people, I love the Yoruba narrative because as soon as you go into West Africa, one of the special things about West Africa that I love the most is many of the oral traditions still stand today. And you have many elders into their hundreds who, so if I'm saying 2022, you have elders right now who are 1920, 1919, who are still alive, who have been alive long enough to pass on the information they got from their mothers and fathers from the 1880s, 1890s, right? 1870s. And then their grandparents are alive enough, they already have connection intact. Many of them. Many of them are still intact. And we're going to work through this buffering. I thought that this would be a change of pace, and I think it is for those putting Google Maps. South, why they lied to us. Africa is in close to North Africa. How could anything sub be at the top? The only way this sub will work from a critical thinking person's perspective is if we do like our ancestors and ancestresses and turn this upside down. Now, sub-Saharan Africa is it's at the bottom of the African continent now. And this is where the kingdom of Judah resides, in the southern kingdom. The northern kingdom is in present-day South Africa. The northern kingdom of Isolele or Israel is known as Zululand, Swaziland today. Now, one thing I love about our family in Yoruba land is that the elders are still alive. And many of the elders know how the Yoruba people got to West Africa. See, the Yoruba people, just like most of the present day people in West Africa, are not indigenous to West Africa. Many of the so-called present day West Africans come from East Africa. When you begin to get back to Africa, just remove the hatred of Africa for a second. All my Hebrew Israelite brothers and sisters out here in America who see this video. Yes, you Hebrew Israelite. Yes, there were some African nations who conspired with the European in order to gather us. But you have to remember, nations do not enslave their own. Okay? Nations do not enslave their own. Other nations enslave other nations based off of warfare, based off of encroachment, based off of alienation. Okay? So when you realize this, there's no reason for you to, like we say, throw the baby out with the bathwater. No, no. We're not going to do that. You have to keep an open mind and you have to be able to go back into the narrative and really identify and see what is what, because everything ain't bad and everything ain't good. As a matter of fact, everything just is. And when we can identify what is, then we will begin to get back on the right track. So one thing I like about the Yoruba people is the Yorubas understand that they are not native to West Africa. The Yorubas have an oral tradition that tells us that they came from the East, or we came from the East. I say they because everyone that's going to watch this might not be of Yoruba lineage, okay, of that particular tribe of Isolele, of Israel. But you have to know that the Yorubas are Judah, are part of the tribes of Judah, okay? So please keep this in mind. And Queen, I ain't forgot about you. I'm gonna show you something tight. Okay, and what I'm about to share with you, Google Oduduwa. I'm about to spell his name for you in the chat. I'm about to spell his name for you in the chat. Oduduwa. Excuse me. Oduduwa. And then I'm gonna put it in big bold letters. Now I'll just do it in big bold letters out the gate. Oduduwa. That's who you want to look for. Oduduwa. Google Oduduwa. And Google, how did Oduduwa lead the Yoruba tribe from East Africa to West Africa? And what happened when they got to the Nok civilization? I'm also going to spell Nok civilization for you. Look up both of those in the chat. Oduduwa and the Nok civilization. You will see that the Nok civilization predated the arrival of the Yoruba. Now, why is this important? Well, I thought about this a lot. I've come to this this understanding that the Noach civilization could quite frankly be a part of the Canaanite civilization. Okay? Many of the Noach civilization tribes had a problem with our people coming from the east. Okay? For instance, I did African DNA. I did my African DNA. I did 23andMe. I did Family Tree. When I got my Family Tree DNA back, it blew my mind. Now, this is back 2015. It was this DNA test that actually began to bring the Bible to life for me, began to bring the story of Joseph to life in Egypt and Kemet. And this is when I realized, oh, wait a second, they lying. They lying. They are lying. The Europeans are lying when it comes to our presence in Kemet, right? So check this out. What they won't tell you is that Pharaoh Ramses III was actually a Hebrew Israelite. They're not going to tell you that. And he was a Hebrew Israelite reigning under his stead, like Joseph was. They're not going to tell you that though. Ramses III was of Hebrew Israelite stock. Yes, you heard it here. Yes, I said it. Yes, I said it. Knowing that all my daddy's side is from Mississippi, my mama's side is from Texas. When I realized this, and I realized, of course, we know about the slave narrative out here. We know so much about how, going 3 or 4 generations back, you might have a European pappy, father's father. You just might. So I didn't know if my forefather was Chinese. I didn't know if he was European. I ain't know nothing. I just said, hey, let me take this test. And this is what I promised myself, y'all. This is when I was still under that narrative of you are who your father is. Now I'm gonna do a study on that, most high willing, talking about Numbers chapter 2. And Numbers chapter 2 is not what we think it is. That whole narrative, you are who your father is, and go back to your father's house, and that's a different thing. But when I was under that impression, I believe that they lie about so much. We must do our own research. That's right. We must do our own research, Queen. So check this out. I got my DNA test results back real quick. It was E1B1A. Okay. Now, they're going to shoot that DNA test done. I said, if it comes back and I come back to be Chinese and my great 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 grandpappy was Chinese, well, I'm not going to be teaching no more. I still represent the truth because my mama, she got to be African haplotype. That's she got to be, because most of our mothers, our mothers was the ones that was raped and sodomized and sexually attacked. Our mothers went through that. So when you look at the DNA testing, for instance, 98, 99% of so-called African Americans have a maternal L haplogroup. It's only till modern times, like 80s, 90s, where we start seeing, brothers getting with white girls and white girls getting with the brothers and this and that, to where a child, like a female, she could have a white or European maternal haplotype. So that's a new phenomenon in the scheme of things. This ain't about racial, none of that. So disclaimer, it's just about the truth. So when we look at the majority of our people having L haplotypes, that's a Bantu haplotype, maternal haplotype, from L0 all the way through L6. Now, science has confirmed that the L3 haplotype, maternal haplotype, is the haplogroup that left. Haplotypes and haplogroup are the same. The L3 haplotype or haplogroup is the one that left. And I don't like the out of Africa theory either. But it has been confirmed that the L3 haplogroup is the mother haplogroup of all the rest of the haplogroups on Earth, maternally speaking. So from A all the way through, I think, Q, they have it. All of those haplogroups, maternally speaking, come through the African mother L3 haplotype. Now, some of us here are L3, like my pops, he's L3E something. his haplotype is L3E, but I didn't get his haplotype because men don't pass on their mama's maternal haplogroup. Okay, my ear pod's trying to go out on me now. Where is my thing at? Where is my little AirPod, the box? Okay, let me see. I'm gonna put one of them up to charge it. All right. So, can y'all still hear me? Oh, this